Over the last 8 years in the industry, I've learned a hell of a lot. There are certain things that nobody tells you before you start your watch journey. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you 10 things that you need to know when you start your watch journey. Welcome back to the Chisholm Hunter channel. My name is Harrison, as always. And before we start this video, if you've ever enjoyed these videos, taken any value, if you could hit that subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. So the first thing I learned, or the first thing that you should learn, coming in at number 1 or 10, depending on the way you want to look at it, is don't jump on the hype. Don't jump on hype purchases. The Omega Moonswatch or the Blancpain X Watch Scuba are perfect examples of these watches. So many people bought these watches and subsequently, after buying these watches, regretted buying said watches. There is a Blancpain X Scuba that I bought that, because I linked no nostalgia to it, because I linked no memory to it, I don't really know why I got it, and I don't really wear it. So just remember, when you're buying your watches, are you buying it because of hype, or are you buying it because of emotion? Always lean towards emotion. At number 9, if we want to kind of count down the way, I suppose, is size doesn't always matter. Sorry. There are some watches that I've gone into the boutique, I've tried on, that come in way bigger than I expect to suit my wrists. But when I get them on the wrist, I think, wow, that actually isn't too bad. There's the Omega Planet Ocean is a perfect example of this watch. Coming in at about 43.5 mil, depending on the one you go for. Normally, people look at those specs online and think, absolutely not, that is way too big. But when you get it on the wrist, you realize quickly, it's not. Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge a watch by its specs. And if you think you like the look of something, but it's too big online, then go in and try it on. And there's just so many examples I could bring of watches that people say are too big, and then they try them on, and actually, they suit them. At number 8, we have probably one of the most important points, until the last point, because the last point's pretty important, but it is don't let other people's opinions change your mind. And this includes me. Now, I'm going to bring this back to a rather personal story, but I used to have a group of friends that were the wrong group of friends. I got into photography and videography quite young. I was 17 or 18. That group of friends, I remember this so vividly, messaged me one day on Instagram saying, you can't post this because you are embarrassing us as a group. You are not allowed to do certain things because it impacts us as a group. And immediately, I kind of thought, F you. And I blocked every single one of them on Instagram. And since then, I've worked with some of the biggest brands in the world. Canon, Omega, Chisholm Hunter being an amazing brand. I've started my own podcast. I run my own YouTube channel. And I've done things not out of spite, but because that was my passion and that's what I love to do. But the kind of moral to that story is, if I had listened to my friends, or my supposed friends at that point, I would have never got to where I am today, and I wouldn't be talking to you today. So don't listen to people. Yes, I know I might have opinions on watches. It doesn't mean that they're right opinions. Make your own mind up. Listen, guys, I'm not going to lie. I hate talking about that personal side of things because it kind of feels like I'm being up my own arse a little bit. And I promise you I'm not, but I'm just trying to relay the point that if you believe in yourself and you believe in your own opinions, then things might just work out. Moving on from the kind of personal stuff, but this is kind of a big one that not many people think about. It's maintenance costs. Just as your car needs serviced, the engine of your car needs serviced, so does your automatic movement. Now, most brands say every 2 to 3 years you should get a service. I've had watches for 3, 4, 5 years that haven't been serviced yet. They probably should be serviced, and I can definitely see this with my Tudor. When I wind my Tudor now, I can feel grit. I can feel that it's not adequately lubricated. There's stuff going on in there that I probably should send it away now to fix. So just bear in mind that even though you're paying £3,000 or £4,000 for, let's say, a Tudor watch, there is going to be fees further down the line for servicing said watch, unless you want those components to start rubbing against each other and causing real damage to the interiors of the watch. I mean, when the lubrication sort of fades away, then you get the metal going off against each other. And that's when things genuinely wear down and things need replaced instead of just repaired. And on that note, whatever note we might be on at the moment, it is time for the Chisholm Hunter tradition, I never get that word, which is the wrist check. What is on your wrist today? Are you wearing something wintry? Are you wearing something summery? Are you wearing something that matches your clothing? Because I am. I'm wearing the Hamilton Khaki Field Expedition. However, I did switch onto a green NATO strap from the previous variant of the Hamilton Khaki Field, and I thought that it matched this shirt really nicely. Do you not think, Drew?
Yeah, it does actually.
It's quite nice, isn't it? Coming in next, and I'm not even going to try and remember the number because I'm dyslexic enough to have totally forgotten, but it is market fluctuations. I say market fluctuations, I really mean increases in prices. Incrementally, each year, every brand has incremental price increases. This is due to a couple of factors, and I'll go into this in another video. But essentially, the watches that you will see now in a year's time will be more expensive. So please bear that in mind if you are buying a new watch. Sometimes these price increases aren't reflective in the pre-owned market. Let's say you were to buy a watch at £3,000 and next year it's at £3,500. You might look in the pre-owned market and it's still selling for £2,500, £2,000. Just because it goes up on the primary market doesn't mean it necessarily goes up on the secondary market. And that kind of brings me to the point, don't buy a watch to gain money. Don't buy a watch for an investment because, guys, you'll never be happy. Next up, and I believe this is number 4, but if I'm wrong, then I do apologize. But fakes are real, fakes do circulate, and fakes are getting better and better and better. Even watch enthusiasts, true watch enthusiasts, and people that are professionals within the industry, like myself, make mistakes. There has been people that have come into Chisholm Hunter because we buy and sell watches, and they've tried to sell us fake watches. And these watches, guys, are very legit. They look really, really convincing. And it's only when you open it up to the movement that you can really tell that there's just stuff that's going on. Now, we have done videos on fake watches and how to spot fake watches before. If you want to see that, just head to our channel. You can see that. But these watches are really convincing. So please, when you're buying a watch, make sure you have box and papers and it's from a reputable dealer like Chisholm Hunter. I mean, we've been around for 165 years. We're family run and we own 29 boutiques throughout the UK. The good thing about, and this isn't even a plug, but the good thing about having bricks and mortar stores is if there is a problem with your watch, you can bring it back in. If you just buy a watch online and then all of a sudden that online company turns off, the website's no longer there, where are you going to take it? Limited editions, that's the next point we're going to go on to. And it's limited editions aren't always valuable. Or not that they're not always valuable, but they're not always worth the money. So many times in the watch industry, I see watch brands bringing out limited editions and marking the price up £2,000, £3,000, £4,000 for the same watch in essence, just because it's a limited edition. Now, if you look at Breguet, and by the way, I'm not bashing Breguet as a brand, a really cool brand. I like their marketing. I like what they've done, and they've had a real stab at it, and they're doing very, very well. Love it. However, they bring out limited editions all the time. And because they bring out limited editions all the time, it devalues the limited editions that they've brought out previously. Again, I'm not bashing the brand. That's just what I've observed and what I have seen. So just because something is a limited edition doesn't necessarily mean that it's or it should be more expensive or more valuable. Also, you get limited editions that are limited to 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 pieces. That's not really limited. That's just normal production numbers. Coming in at second last is Micr Brands are sometimes better than mainstream brands. Mainstream brands, because they've developed a name for themselves, can put their prices up because of that name. You buy a Rolex because it's a Rolex, not always because of what it actually does and the movement in that Rolex, if that makes any sense. And a huge player at the moment, and something that I've noticed, and a brand that I've noticed, is Studio Underdog. The watchmaking, the craftsmanship, the design is all absolutely incredible, but very few people have actually heard of that brand. And after doing some research on that brand, I would pick Studio Underdog over a lot of the mainstream boys because the quality is better for the price. The final point, and this is one of the most important points in this video, is strap swapping can transform the way a watch looks. Now, I hate to talk about this watch because I talk about it far too much and get grilled when I do talk about it, but my Omega Seamaster, I have had every single variant of strap on this watch. I've had the NATO, I've had the rubber, and I've had the bracelet. Every time I changed this strap or the strap on this watch, it's almost like a new season is born within the watch. People change their straps based on seasons, literally. If it's winter, they might put on darker straps. If it's summer, they might put on brighter straps. And it totally changes the personality and feel of your watch. So when you get your watch, the fun isn't over. You can still experiment. Get a little spring bar tool, if it has spring bars on it, and start changing up that watch. Start having fun with that watch, and start changing the personality. I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. I honestly had a lot of fun with this one. Just writing down some notes. I'm getting more into the script writing of these videos and more into the structure of these videos, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I really do. Thank you very much, and I'll be back soon.